You just spent $1,200 on an iPhone. Apple thanks you. Their shareholders thank you. Their suppliers thank you. But here's what Apple doesn't tell you in those sleek product videos. The iPhone you're holding cost about $500 to make. $500 in parts and manufacturing. You paid $1,200. So where does the other $700 go? I'm Dr. Bush, and this is Modern Magnates. Today we're doing a deep dive. I'm breaking down every component, every cost, every dollar from the moment raw materials leave a factory to the moment you walk out of an Apple store. This is the complete financial anatomy of an iPhone. Let's follow your $1,200. First, the basics. When I say an iPhone costs $500 to make, I'm talking about a standard iPhone 15 Pro. Not the Pro Max, not the base model, the middle tier that most people buy. Apple doesn't publish these numbers. They guard them carefully. But teardown companies like TechInsights and iFixit literally disassemble new iPhones and estimate the cost of every single component. Combine that with supplier pricing data, manufacturing cost estimates, and Apple's own financial filings, and we can reverse engineer the real costs. Let's start with the most expensive single component, the display. The screen on your iPhone 15 Pro is a Super Retina XDR OLED display, 6.1 inches, made by Samsung or LG, depending on production batch. Cost to Apple, approximately $110. That's the most expensive part of your phone. $110 for a screen that took years of R&D to develop. It uses cutting-edge OLED technology and has to meet Apple's strict quality standards. Next, the processor, the A17 Pro chip. This is where Apple's vertical integration shows. They design the chip in-house. TSMC manufactures it in Taiwan using 3-nanometer process technology, the most advanced in the world. Cost to Apple, approximately $65 per chip. For context, that chip contains 19 billion transistors. It's a marvel of engineering, and Apple pays about $65 for it. Camera system, 3 lenses on the Pro model. Main camera, ultra-wide, telephoto. The camera module, including all 3 lenses, sensors, and the LiDAR scanner, approximately $90. Memory and storage. The base Pro model comes with 128 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM. NAND flash storage, approximately $30. And RAM chips, approximately $15. Battery, lithium-ion, designed to last all day. Cost, approximately $10. The chassis, titanium frame on the Pro models, glass back, precision milling. Materials and manufacturing for the body, approximately $40. 5G modem and wireless components. This is provided by Qualcomm. Cost, approximately $35. Miscellaneous components. Taptic engine for haptic feedback. Face ID sensors. Speakers, microphones. Lightning port components, screws, adhesives. All the small parts combined, approximately $45. Now let's add it up. A display, $110 processor, $65, camera system, $90 storage, $30 RAM, $15 battery, $10 chassis, $40 5G modem, $35 miscellaneous parts, $45. Total component cost, $440. But that's just the parts. Someone has to assemble these components into a functioning iPhone. Manufacturing and assembly. Mostly done by Foxconn in China and increasingly in India. Apple pays approximately $15 to $20 per unit for assembly labor and factory overhead. Let's call it $18 for assembly. $440 in parts, $18 in assembly. Total manufacturing cost, $458. So your $1,200 iPhone cost Apple $458 to physically create. But we're not done. There are more costs before that phone reaches you. Shipping and logistics. iPhones are manufactured in Asia, shipped globally to distribution centers, then to retail stores or directly to customers. Air freight for new launches, ocean freight for ongoing inventory, warehousing, customs, distribution. Cost per unit, approximately $10. Packaging, that beautiful box, the charging cable, the documentation, the SIM tool, the Apple stickers. Cost per unit, approximately $8. Now we're at $476 in direct costs to get a physical iPhone into a box ready to sell. You paid $1,200. They spent $476. Gross margin, $724. And that's a 60% gross margin. But Apple doesn't keep all $724. Let's see where it goes. Research and development. Apple spends approximately $30 billion per year on R&D. They sell about 240 million iPhones per year. Divide 30 billion by 240 million, and that's about $125 per iPhone in R&D costs. $125 of your purchase went to funding the engineers, designers, and scientists who created the iPhone, developed iOS, and are already working on next year's model. Marketing and advertising. Apple spent about $30 billion on sales and marketing in their last fiscal year. Per iPhone sold, about $125. $125 of your $1,200 went to those minimalist billboards, TV commercials, YouTube ads, and the cost of running Apple's website and App Store. Retail and sales operations. Apple has over 500 retail stores worldwide. Those stores have rent, utilities, and staff, plus the cost of running their online store, customer service, sales support. Per iPhone, approximately $80. Corporate overhead. Apple employs about 164,000 people. Executive salaries, HR, legal, finance, facilities, their massive headquarters in Cupertino. General and administrative expenses divided by iPhones sold, approximately $50 per unit. Warranty and support. Apple Care costs, even if you don't buy it. Free support for the first year. Genius Bar appointments. In warranty replacements for defective units. Reserved cost per iPhone, approximately $20. Payment processing and credit card fees. Whether you buy online or in store, someone pays the credit card processing fee, usually 2 to 3% of the transaction. On a $1,200 purchase, approximately $30 in payment processing. Let's add up these operating expenses. R&D, $125. Marketing, $125. Retail operations, $80. Corporate overhead, $50 warranty, and support, $20 payment processing, $30. Total operating expenses allocated per iPhone, $430. Now let's look at the complete picture. You paid $1,200, manufacturing cost, $458. Much shipping and packaging, $18. Operating expenses, $430. Total costs, $906. Profit, $294 per iPhone. That's a 24.5% net profit margin. Apple keeps $294 of your $1,200 purchase as pure profit. Multiply that by 240 million iPhones sold per year, and that's over $70 billion in annual profit just from iPhones. But wait, we're not quite done, because there's another piece of this puzzle most people miss. You didn't just buy an iPhone, you bought into an ecosystem. Let me show you the real genius of Apple's business model. That $1,200 iPhone is just the entry point. The real money comes from what happens after you buy it. Services, Apple Music, iCloud storage, Apple TV Plus, the App Store. Apple takes a 30% cut of every app purchase and an app subscription made on your iPhone. 30%. If you subscribe to Spotify through your iPhone, Apple takes 30% of that $11 monthly fee. If you buy coins in a mobile game, Apple takes 30%. In 2023, Apple's services division generated over $85 billion in revenue, with an estimated 70% profit margin. That's nearly $60 billion in profit from services, much of it directly tied to the iPhone you bought. Let's personalize this. Average iPhone user breakdown. You bought the iPhone, $1,200. Apple's profit, $294. You buy iCloud storage for $3 per month. Apple's profit, about $2 per month. Over a 3-year device lifecycle, that's $72 in profit. You subscribe to Apple Music for $11 per month. Apple's profit on that is estimated at $4 to $5 per month. Over 3 years, that's about $160 in profit. You buy apps and in-app purchases. Average user spends about $80 per year. Apple takes 30%. That's $24 per year. Over 3 years, $72 in profit for Apple. You upgrade after 3 years and trade in your old iPhone. Apple refurbishes it and resells it for $400. Refurbishment cost, about $80. Profit, $320. Let's add it up over a 3-year ownership cycle. iPhone purchase profit, $294 iCloud profit, $72 Apple Music profit, $160 App Store profit, $72 trade-in and resale profit, $320 total profit from you over 3 years, $918. You thought you just bought a phone. Apple sees you as a $900 customer over 3 years, and that's a conservative estimate. Power users who buy multiple Apple products, more services, more apps, can be worth thousands of dollars in profit to Apple over the same period. This is why Apple defends the App Store so aggressively. Why they fight regulators who want to allow third-party app stores. The 30% cut from the App Store is worth billions. This is why they make it hard to leave the ecosystem. iMessage only works with other iPhones. AirDrop only works with Apple devices. Your iCloud photos sync seamlessly, but moving them to Android is a hassle. Lock in, that's the strategy. Now let's zoom out and look at the global picture. Your $1,200 iPhone has components from all over the world. The OLED screen, South Korea, Samsung, or LG factories. The A17 processor, designed in California, manufactured in Taiwan by TSMC. Camera sensors, Sony in Japan. Memory chips, Samsung in South Korea or SK Hynix. Battery, multiple suppliers in China. Modem, Qualcomm, designed in the US, manufactured in Taiwan or South Korea. Final assembly, Foxconn in China, increasingly in India and Vietnam. Apple has created a global supply chain involving hundreds of suppliers across dozens of countries. The logistics alone are staggering, and Apple controls it all. They dictate terms to suppliers. They demand exclusivity. They negotiate prices with massive leverage. If you're a supplier and Apple is your biggest customer, you do what Apple says, or you lose the contract. This is how Apple keeps costs down while maintaining quality. Scale plus control. But here's what's changing. Apple is diversifying manufacturing away from China. India is becoming a major production hub. Vietnam is growing. This is partly political, reducing dependence on one country, but it's also about cost optimization and risk management. The supply chain is always evolving, always optimizing. Let's talk about one more thing. Environmental costs. Hannah at Apple says they're carbon neutral for corporate operations, but that doesn't include the manufacturing of products. Mining rare earth elements for components, the energy used in factories, the emissions from shipping millions of phones around the world. The environmental cost of your iPhone isn't in Apple's cost breakdown. It's externalized, paid by the planet, communities near mines, factory workers. Apple is working on this. Recycled materials, renewable energy in supplier factories. But the true environmental cost isn't captured in that $458 manufacturing figure. Just something to think about. So here's the complete picture of your $1,200 iPhone. Manufacturing, $458. Shipping and packaging, $18. R&D, $125. Marketing, $125. Retail, $80. Corporate overhead, $50. Warranty, $20. Payment processing, $30. Apple's profit, $294. But the real profit comes later. From the ecosystem, the services, the lock-in, the next iPhone you'll buy in 3 years. That's where your $1,200 really goes. And now you know why Apple is the most valuable company in the world. Not because they make the best phones, though they might, but because they've perfected the art of extracting maximum value from every customer across the entire product lifecycle. You're not buying a phone, you're joining a profit machine. That's how it works. Hey, this is Modern Magnates. I follow the money so you can see how the world really works. Tomorrow, and I'm breaking down how gas stations really make their money, Spoiler, it's not from selling gas. If you want to understand where your money actually goes, subscribe. New investigation every day, drop a comment. What company should I follow the money on next? Samsung, Tesla, Microsoft? I'm Dr. Bush. Thanks for following the money with me. See you tomorrow.